Thank you for the introduction. Usually us professors, we like to just do things and keep them from you. I wanted to show you guys about this project that I did in Washington, D.C. a couple weeks ago at the Pyramid Atlantic Art Center. They're really fantastic art center out there. They have a great printmaking and paper-making studio, which is something I liked. If you guys don't or haven't met me yet, I'm a printmaker by trade. They had a really great studio out there. It was kind of done in conjunction with their annual Book Arts Fair. They have an annual Book Arts Fair where all these really big presses come and show the books they've been making on, mostly all artist books, working with artists and creating these, a lot of letterpresses done and things of that nature. So it was kind of just this nice, vibrant, exciting weekend where we could all just kind of nerd out on the book, which was really good. Because I think any book artist will say that they are a nerd in some respects about some things about the book. Well, this is the project. I'm going to go into a little bit of the background that kind of led me up to this project and why I decided to do it in this venue. But this is an in-progress shot. The project was called Bricolage, which I'll probably say 20 times, diligent note takers. I first learned about the idea of a bricolage, or that idea, from a book by Julie Sanders, who's a literary critic. She's really great, but for you guys that don't know, and I was unfamiliar before reading about it, a bricolage is the construction or creation of a work from a diverse range of things that happen to be available or work created by such a process. So when I refer to bricolage and we talk about some of the ideas inherent with that, that's what I mean. So when Pyramid Atlantic contacted me to do this project, they had this really cool space called the Vault. It was an old bank vault. I was scared the entire weekend that they were going to lock me in, and because it still had the old bank door on it with the safe and everything. But it was this really nice space. You had to talk very quietly because it was so loud. But it was really nice, and I think it lent itself well to do this project. So if you guys see here, I had these old German design magazines that I believe Noriko threw out, but maybe not. Maybe somebody else. I found them on the Hunt House floor of the porch. Maybe it was Tom. One of them. I ripped them all up. I shipped them to the gallery a few days ahead of my arrival there, and they're just really interesting because I don't know German. I know maybe 3 words of German, and nobody else working on the project knew any German, so it was kind of nice. We kind of were clueless about some of these images, but the images were beautiful. They were very much Life magazine. They were from the mid-'60s. I think the magazines we were working on were 64, 65, and 66. And they just had this beautiful imagery in them, but we just had such a hard time figuring out any of it, which was kind of nice in a lot of ways. Because the authority for this piece came in people actually coming up to the work table in the center of the room, cutting these images out, and then putting them on the wall, tacking them on the wall in a way that related to, or in a category that related to, that narrative or physical structure of the book. So I had these things. I'll go back to this page so we can kind of see. I had different categories listed in Post-its around the room. From here it starts, this is protagonist, so kind of like that main character that the reader, sympathizes with. It went back to the title page, so again, more of a physical structure of the book. Into, this was fiction, I believe. This was conflict, climax, nonfiction. I remembered all these at one point. Oh, this was resolution, and then this was appendix. So,
how could you resist not using denouement?
I don't know. I had a long list of things. I just kind of picked as I got in there. That would have been good though. Next time.
Okay.
So I had all these categories on the wall. People would come in and look at these German magazines, have no way of deciphering really what the heck was written on these pages. And they would have to cut these pages out and then place them into one of these categories, which was very interesting because now, rather than me putting a mark on the page, I was thinking of the person actually categorizing these spreads as them making that mark, taking that authority over the piece. So somebody, for instance, and I'll show you these, we'll kind of get into some of them. Some of these, like the protagonists, somebody came in and said, look to the protagonist side, and they go, wow, it's all male protagonists. Why is that? And it was like, geez, I really don't know. Why is that? It provoked a lot of thought in those respects, and it did in a lot of the categories too, so it was kind of nice. The black and white on the left side, the color on the right side was just for formal things. I just wanted to see if I could get it striped black and white in color. There's kind of the evolution of it as it went through its various stages. It was nice to just have this nice filtration of people in and out all day, kind of just cutting out these magazines. Everybody's saying, these magazines are so beautiful, why are you cutting them up? And all that stuff. And then pinning these up on the wall, however they decided to categorize these pages, which most of them could not read because they could not read German, and most of them were just large pages of photographs, so they were pretty much not containing any text at all. Here's some people working there, cutting out the pages and kind of letting this space grow around them, which I thought was nice. Here's the protagonist section, which again was very heavily male. I don't know why, but something that I think a lot of thought was given to afterwards. After we got this whole piece set up, we kind of did walk around, meet myself, and I had two assistants working on it with me, as well as the people that were in the room that had spent time in there, kind of pinning up a lot of these posters. We did question why the protagonist side was mostly male. Maybe it was the sources we were driving these photographs from were mostly male when it came down to it. The title page I just kind of liked because it was very graphic in a sense. A lot of people interpreted this as just what like the cover of a book could be or the title page of a book could be. So again, that physical structure of the book. This is the conflict area where I found the most interest in this area, because for somebody to cut a photograph without text on it and to put it into a conflict or understand it as a conflict is very interesting to me. Some of them are very basic and you might be able to understand. This is a disemboweled zebra. Why that means conflict was the person's idea. This is just all these people with white sheets over their heads, kind of like a crucifix scene here. Up top, I thought was really interesting, was just two policemen standing. Why do policemen stand in for conflict for some people? This one was kind of like a risk war battle scene. Why is a woman in lingerie conflict for people? Rather than the conflict. Maybe that's it. I gotta be honest, there were more, I took head count of the people working on this. There were more women working on this than there were men throughout the day, which is interesting too. And that's the final kind of place where the piece got when I left it. So I think they're going to leave it up for a while, and I guess I am the person to evaluate the success of it. I think it worked out pretty successfully. Bye. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.